So, namaskaram to all. Straight away, we will go to the session. Chaturmukha samarambham vakbhadacharya madhyamam asmadacharya paryandam vande guru paramparam yagadirogan sadadanushaktan sheshagaya prasutan sheshan औत्सुक्यमोह आरदिदान जखान नो पूर्व वैद्याय नमोस्तु तस्मै. In our previous session, we were discussing about, or at least we started the discussion about Apanavayu. And we saw that Apanaha tu Apanasthitaha Vastishroni Medra Vrishana Vankshana Urucharaha Vinmutra Shukrartava Garbha Nishkramana Dikriyaha iti. And we told that when we look into this explanation from Ashtanga Sangraham, we find that it is primarily focusing on the excretory functions or the expelling tendency of Apanavayu. We looked into each and every term, and certain terms are very familiar, so we did not discuss Shukra, Vit, Mutra, etc., which are very clear. And regarding the Shukra and Artava, in this context, we made it clear that it is the seminal and menstrual fluids respectively. Previously, in one situation, we told that it is not like that. That happens. In our literature, it happens very often. And we concluded our last session with a mentioning that there are many other important aspects which is to be understood about Apanavayu, and that we will discuss today. Apart from the straightforward explanations that we see in the text, what we read and discussed so far, there are many things about Apana. Apana can be considered as one of the master controls of the Sharira. This is clinically very, very important. This is very crucial. Apana can be considered as one of the master controls of Sharira. How? Or why do you say like that? That we have to discuss. We will see the status of Apanavayu as a master control. Please listen to the points what we are going to elaborate. The dosha called Vayu is Lakhu by default, and any Lakhu principle let it be Vayu or something else, any Lakhu principle tends to move upward, isn't it? Because of the Lakhavam that it provides, any Lakhu principle tends to move upward. And that tendency, as I explained, is there by default. And this upward tendency to move and the upward movement itself does not require any support from a different agency or an outside agency. It is a passive activity. By default, it tends to move up. But Apana works against that tendency. It shows a strong downward movement to accomplish the Nishkramana type of functions. To accomplish the downward expulsion or movement, throwing out, draining out, excretory type of movements, Apana has to move against the rule that a Lakhu principle will move upward. So that is a strong indication, that is an important indication of its strength of Apana Vayu. And by means of this potential to move downward, to pull downward strongly, it exerts a downward pull on all other Vayus. Apana exerts a downward pull on all the other Vayus, including Prana. Including Pranavayu. This is very, very important. Very, very important. While understanding the Sharira, this concept will give you lot of insights. And it is this downward pull graduates it the Apana Vayu as one of the master controls of Sharira. Generally, this idea is explained using a very famous example. Take the case of a kite flyer, a person who is flying the kite in the sky. The kite may be flying high in the sky. And definitely, seeing a kite flying high on the sky is an awesome scene. No doubt about it. Wow, everyone will be awestruck. What a beautiful scene it is. But that kite is always under the control of a smart person, a skilled person standing down on the earth. And there is a fine, strong thread with which the kite is controlled by this man who is sitting down on the earth or standing down on the earth. In the same manner, Apana keeps a hidden thread with which all other Vayus are kept under its control. So all the other Vayus are stars, superstars, Pranavayu, Vyanavayu, Udanavayu, Samanavayu. They are all superstars. They are in the limelight. They are in the center stage. But They are all controlled by a thread which is in the hands of the smart guy who is sitting down, standing down on the earth like a kite flyer. So they may be flying high, true, but they cannot outsmart the downward pull of apana. They cannot outsmart the downward pull of apana. It is in a way that all other vayus are literally tamed by apana. This is very, very important. In understanding samprapti, in coming up with the precise prescriptions, in all these exercises, understanding the modus operandi of vayus in general and understanding the modus operandi of apana vayu in particular is very, very important. Now, the sthana of apana is also very strategically envisaged. The sthana of apana is also very strategically envisaged. Just go through a visualization exercise where apana is situated, where the other vayus are situated, where the other faculties are situated. So we can visualize that apana is there in the body after Agni, further down the Samana Vayus, further down the seat of Samana Vayu in the Guda Marga. In the Guda Marga. Actually, the active stages of Pachana, Agni Pachana, the so-called Agni Pachana of or Ahara Pachana, is completed by a coordinated effort of Agni and Samana. The separation of Sara and Kitta is also over by that stage. So what? At this stage, the Rasa Poshanam is also practically, or most of the Rasa Poshanam is over by the completion of that Sarakitta Vibhajanam. Apanasthana is further down. So in that place, Rasa Poshanam from the Annasara is not a serious business. At that state, the Rasa Poshanam is not a serious concern. So, it is a place in Sharira, a peculiar Dehadesha, where, especially with special regards to the Koshtam, where the Rukshata of Vayu can be accommodated safely. Where the Rukshata of Vayu can be accommodated safely. Vayu is Ruksha by default. It is its Swabhava. By default means Swabhava. But Even though Vayu is so strong, so powerful, so intelligent, and etc., etc., we can add on. This swabhava of Vayu, that it is rukshata, ruksha in nature, is against the snigdhada of dhadus. It is against the snigdhada of sharira dhadus. Opposite. So even though the service of Vayu is indispensable for the existence, the dhadus are not so comfortable with its rukshata. Dhadus are not very comfortable with the ruksha guna of Vayu. So, Apana safely accommodates all these rukshata and keep it completely controlled in the Buddha marga, avoiding the risk of the rukshada spreading to the dhadus through the annasara, then rasadhadu, and spreading across. So that possibility is also avoided, thus protecting the dhadus from a potential attack of or by rukshaguna. So there can be many questions. What about other vayus? The other vayus, even though all of them are ruksha by swabhava, they behave in a different manner where the rukshata will be kept recessive. Rukshata will be kept recessive. Will not come as a dominant principle. This is very important. Samana is ruksha, but that rukshata will not dominate in samana. Vyana is ruksha, but the rukshata will never dominate in vyana. Prana is ruksha, but the rukshata in prana will never manifest in the prakritavastha. So that way, apana is the only vayu which has no vyabhicharana from the basic swarupa of vayu, no departure, no compromise from the basic swarupa of vayu. Apana is the only vayu where all these gunas are manifested. What about lekhuta? You told that, okay, even though it is lekhu, it has got a downward pull which is against the trend of lekhuta. That is out of its power. That doesn't mean that apana is guru. It is because of its peculiar nature of chalatva and the power that it accommodates within, that apana behaves in such a way, and that is so crucial in controlling the other vayus of sharira. Now, we all know some fancy shlokas like Pittam Pangu Kabham Pangu Pangavo Maladhatavaha Vayuna Yatra Niyande Tatra Gachandi Meghavad. We know these shlokas or many other things, similar ones. What is the importance? What is the clinical significance of all these slokas? The most important significance or the most remarkable point out of this sloka is that no samprapti is possible. No samprapti is possible without a support from Vayu. This is very, very important. Without a proper endorsement from Vayu, no samprapti is possible in Sharira. Looks quite funny, but that is true. That is true. And that is why we have this sort of fancy slokas that Pittam Pangu, Kabham Pangu, Pangavo, Maladhadavaha, Vayuna Yatra Gachandi, Vayuna Yatra Niyande, Tatra Gachandi Mekhavadu. And if addressing the samprapti is the most crucial element in the chikitsa, the previous statement that no samprapti is possible without the support, without the consent of Vayu, no chikitsa is possible. No chikitsa is possible without taking control of Vayu. No chikitsa is possible without taking control of Vayu. This is expressed in many ways. This is not my innovation. This is expressed in many ways by the Acharya, but we have to read between the lines. It is for this reading between the lines that some space is left between lines. You have to find what is there between the two lines. There are many direct references like see nahi vadadrideyo nirvanidanam pratushyati, or many things. There may be many that garbhasya hi gadim chitram karoti viguno nilaha. I'm just taking from different contexts, and I would like to take some very important clinical situations from the textbooks. Even the other day, I was explaining these things to my RIV scholars in the hospital. See, one towering example to understand the significance of considering Apana Vayu in all sorts of treatments in our day-to-day practice. Let it be very, very simple, superficial sampraptis, or let it be very complex, gambhira sampraptis. And that towering example is from Arshoroga. If you have textbooks near or within your reach now, please take the Arshoroga Nidanam from Ashtanga Hridayam. Arshoroga Nidanam from Ashtanga Hridayam. I will just read it for you. Need not bother about the sloka. Oh, again, we are going to listen to the lengthy slokas, fed up with it. Oh God, save me. Don't get upset. See, Arshoroga Nidanam and Samprapti goes like this. Dosha pragopahedustu praguktah tena sadide agnau male edi nichite. So this is the background. Agni Madhyam is there, and as a result, there is Sanchaya of Mala. Then, in such a situation, Ativyavayataha Yana Sanchobha Vishama Kadinotkadagasanaad Vasti Netra Asma Lostorvi Talajailadi Ghattanaad Brisha Shidambu Samsparshad Punascha Pradada Adipravahanaad Vadamutra Shagridvega Dharanaad Tadudiranaad ज्वर गुल्म अधिसार आम ग्रहणी शोभ पांडुभिः कर्षणाद् विषमाभ्यश्च चेष्टाभ्यः योषितां पुनः आमगर्भ प्रपतनाद् गर्भवृद्धि प्रपीडनाद् ईदृशैश्च अपरैः. So a long list is given as nimitta karanas, and it is not an exclusive list. This is just a set of examples. Idrishaischa aparaihi, with many others of the like, of the same category. What is happening? Vayurapanaha kupitaha bali. Vayurapanaha, apanaha vayuhu, kupitaha. Apanaha vayuhu kupitaha. See, we saw that apana vayu is having the nature, swabhava of moving downward against its lekhuta. And if something comes in its way to obstruct this gati, immediately it may turn upward and goes to a very vigorous stage of kopa. So you can phase out this event, these events. Vayurapanaha kupitaha bali. Initially, Malavriddhi, Agnimandyam, then many other Vadavriddhi Nidanas all together causes an increase in the Vayu, and then because of the multiple factors causing some sort of a obstruction, the apana vayu is becoming kupita and bali very strong. Then malam payorvalishu sandhatte tasvabhisyanna murtishu jayande arshamsi. That vayu is going to malam payorvalishu sandhatte. Payoho valishu malam sandhatte. It is going to retain and accumulate the malam in the vali of the Guda valis, and they become very abhishyanna, and from that abhishyanna murtishu tasu, then arshamsi jayande, they told. So manifestation of arshas has happened, but you should understand, even if the arshas is manifested, there is no change in the status of apana. Apana is still kupitaha and bali. Then what is going to happen? And now we have arshas also. The obstruction is further worsened by arshas. Then we will find the further explanations of Arshoroga in Ashtanga Hridayam. It goes like this. Nivartamano panohi taihi nivartamanaha apanaha taihi. How? Adhomarga rodhataha. Now Arshas manifested and it is worsening the condition of Adhomarga rodham. And what is happening? Nivartamanaha apanaha. Apana is facing a very strong, very powerful block, obstruction. What is it going to, how does it respond? That apana Shobhayan Anilan Anyan Sarvendriya Shariragan. Sarvendriya Shariragan Anyan Anilan Shobhayan. There are many other Vayus which are delivering their assigned duties in Indriyam and many other parts of the Shariram, various Indriyas and various Avayavas in the Sharira, like Pranavayu, Samanavayu, Vyanavayu, Udanavayu, Sarvendriya Shariragan, Anyan, Anilan, Shobhayan, causing Shobha, some sort of a severe turbulence. Tadha, not over. That turbulence is going to spread over many other faculties. Tadha, Mutra Shagrit Pitta Kabhan. Mutra Shagrit Pitta Kabhan. Dhadumscha Sashayan. Dhadumscha Sashayan. Sashayan Dhadun. Sashayan Mutra Pitta Shagrit Kabhan. So, Mutra, Shagrid, Pitta, Kabha, their Ashayas. Dhadun, their Ashayas. All these places or Deha Deshas or Sthana Visheshas undergo the sort of Kshobham that the other Vayus went through. Then what happens when in such a situation Mridnadi Agnim worsens, further deteriorates the status of Agni. Mridnadi Agni Tataha Sarvo Bhavadi Prayasho Arshasaha. Almost all Arsho-rogis are further to this condition, are forced to go through certain situations, and they are symptomatically enlisted here. What are they? Krisho Bhrisham, Hadolsaha, Dinaha, Kshamodi Nishprabha. You can just listen to the words. Krisho Bhrisham, Hadolsaha, Dinaha, Ksamaha, Adi Nishprabha. Then Asaro Vigadachayo Jandujushta Ivadrumaha. Example given is as if a tree which is afflicted by Jandus, various types of insects or krimis or whatever it is. That way, this person is becoming Asaro Vigadachayaha. Then Kritsnair Ubadravair Grastaha. Yadhoktaihi marma pidanaihi. Marma pidanaihi yadhoktaihi krichraihi ubadravaihi grastaha. All sorts of ubadravas which are supposed to happen in the Arshoroga, which are so difficult to tolerate and which are marma pidanaha, causing severe distress to the three marmas. Then, tadha, apart from that, kasa pipasasya vairasya swasa pinasaihi. I was mentioning the other day to the scholars that now, from this point onwards, you can implement the department system. You can implement the department system based on the symptoms. Tatha kasa pipasa asya vairasya swasa peenasaihi klamanga bhanga vamadhu chavadhu swayadhujvaraihi. Then klaibya badhirya taimirya sharkara asmaripiditaha. Klaibya badhirya taimirya sharkara asmaripiditaha क्षाम भिन्नस्वरः ध्यायन् मुहुः स्टीवन् अरोचकी सर्वपर्वास्थि हृन्नाभि पायुवङ्क्षणशूलवान् गुदेन स्रवदापिच्छं पुलागोदगसन्निभम् गुदेन स्रवदापिच्छं पुलागोदगसन्निभम् विबद्धमुक्तं शुष्कार्द्रं पक्वामं चान्दरन्दरा पाण्डुपीदं हरिद्रक्तं पिच्छिलं चोपवेश्यते. So if you leave an arshorogi untreated and chance is given for the vyadhi to flourish, getting proper support from the nimitta karanas, what will be the course of the vikara with time? That is what we find here. And all these vikaras are fundamentally triggered by apanvaya. And we saw that kritsrair upadravair grastaha. And when we discuss about the upadrava, possibility of upadrava in arshoroga, we should never skip the most prominent, the most important upadrava of arshoroga, which is called udavartam. Again, further in the 46th sloka, you will find explanation of udavartam. That also we should see. If you have the text, please follow. Otherwise, please listen to the wonderful, awesome explanation of udavartam by Vakbhadacharya. What is that? Mudga kodrava jurnahva karira chanagadibihi rukshaihi sangrahibhihi. So Vayu is getting both types of support in terms of samagunata, tulya gunata, and also by some sort of a obstructive pathways. Rukshai sangrahibhihi Vayuhu swesthane kupitaha bali. Swasthanam, Vayu has got its swasthanam as Pakwashaya and Gudamarga. So Apana is the Vayu responsible for the entire show, which is going to be explained hereafter. What is that? Adho vahani srodamsi samruddhya adha prashoshayan purisham vada vinmutra sangam kurvida darunam. Vada vinmutra sangam kurvida darunam. Darunam vada vinmutra sangam kurvida. Then tena, sorry, purisham, tena tivra ruja. Tena tivra ruja koshta prishta hrit parshvaga bhaved. Tivra ruja. Identify the locations. Koshta prishta hrit parshvagaha. So you can again divide the departments in a super specialty hospital where this patient is going to consult. Then Adhmanam udaraveshto krillasaha parikartanam vastaucha sudaram sulam Gandashwayadhu Sambhavaha Pavanasya Urdhvagamitvam Tadaha Chardi Aruji Jwaraha. Jwaraha. That jwaram is not the conventional Amad jwaram. It is something different. Then Hridroga, count the departments. Grahani dosha, Mutra Sanga, Pravahikaha, Badhirya, Timira, Swasa, Shiroruk, Kasa, Pinasaha, Manovikaraha, Trishna, Asrapitta, Gulma, Udaradayah, te te cha vadajarogaha jayante bhrishadarunaha arsasamidi udavartaha paramoyam ubadravaha. The entire show is run by one single character, Eganga Abhinayam, and that character is Apanavayu, which will cover the entire clinical and non-clinical departments of a super specialty hospital. No doubt about it. And I am making this statement with a lot of confidence, and all these statements are categorical because I am showing these clinical situations, each and every clinical situations working positively by working with Apanavayu to all the students who have learned with me. I think none of these clinical situations are left. So that is the significance of Apanavayu. That is the significance of understanding the seat of Apanavayu, its speciality in the functional, the delivery of its functions, the way in which it is responding, how it helps in controlling the other vayus in the Sharira and all other faculties in the Sharira. And in Arshoroga Chikitsa, the Chikitsa Sutram is Bhitva Vibandhan Anulomanayayan Marutasya. Bhitva Vibandhan Anulomanayayan Marutasya Agnibalayaycha Tadannapan Aushadham Arshasebhyo Sevyam Vivarjyam Viparitam. So that is the beauty of proposing a concept of Panchavayu and especially Apanavayu in particular. Its seat. Then you can think many things about this. Why Vadasyo Bakramasneha Sveda Samshodhanam Mridu? Why that Visheshan Medhya Visida Rasataila Anuvasanam? Why Anuvasanam is the Vishesha Chikitsa of Vayu? All these things can be easily isolated and absorbed to your clinical enthusiasm. I think by that luxury of the evening hours, I took some 14 minutes extra. Sorry for that. I think we should conclude at this point. Otherwise, I think we will go further ahead. Before concluding, I think there are some chats. Let me see. On a day-to-day basis for a healthy person, how to keep Apana function properly. I think Dinacharya is meant for that. All facility, all the advices in Dinacharya you can read, or Dinacharya in total you can read how efficiently that idea is accommodated. Will Samanavayu does Rasadhadu Poshana? It helps in the formation of Ahar Rasa. Yeah, I think that is again an interesting question. See, don't attribute any particular function to any single faculty. These are all working in tandem, in coordination, in perfect association with one another. So, Samana Vayu is doing Dhadu Poshanam, Rasa Poshanam, by facilitating the function of that Agni. So it is something like the student is paying the fee in the college and the parent is giving the money to the student. So whether the parent is paying the fee or the student is paying the fee. So it is something like that. What would be the safer way to do anulomana of apana in patients who has bala below the basic level with very low agni bala? Yeah, that is very important. I think uh, all these things can be seen explained in Snehapana Vidhi. So I think that will be nice to go through all those things. Snehapana Vidhi. Then which vada can be taken into consideration in the case of Brahma, especially if it is taught in means of vertigo? In Brahma, Vayu and to some extent Pitta is the culprit, which is culprits which are predominating. And if there is Kapha Kshaya, I think these two faculties will gain more strength as well. And along with that, sometimes there may be Manogunas also operating like Rajas and Tamas, especially the Rajas. So all these things are to be considered together and some sort of a as a group operating behind this. So sometimes you can find that if it is a Vada predominant Brahma, definitely you cannot win over the situation without taking control of Apana Vayu. Okay. What is the mechanism with which Apana gets capacity to do anulomitva? Is it its swabhava? If so, then is it not that it is deviated of Vayu swabhava? That I already explained. That doesn't mean that, see, anulomana is not a word which is exclusively meaning for a downward movement. Anulomana means the samyak gadi. So as far as the pranavayu is considered, anulomana need not be downward movement. In udana is concerned, anulomana is not downward movement. So the samyak gadi, the proper way of movement of a vayu is called its anulomana. But apana vayu shows a out of the box tendency to pull things downward, even though it is laghu. That is its extraordinary Shakti Vishesham. Extraordinary Shakti Vishesham. That is the reason. It doesn't mean that it is the only Vayu which is having Anulomana nature, all other Vayus are Pratiloma. It is not like that. Pain experienced after sitting on heated stone in anal canal. It has nothing to do with the present context. It is just because of the Ushnaghadam or Ushnabhighadam, which is a some sort of an agandu factor, which is an aganduja vikara. Okay, so anyway, I think we could cover some part of the beautiful clinical narrative of related to Apanavayu. Thank you very much. I think we will conclude here. Bhishayam sadhuvrittanam bhadram agamaशालिनाम अभ्यस्तकर्मणां भद्रं भद्रं भद्राविलाशिनां. नमस्कार.